This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark, and with me, as always, is Brian, and we are talking shit. Today, our guest will be Matt Thrash, and
I'm Matt Thrasher. It's going to be definitely Matt Thrash.
Yeah, okay. I'll explain that once he comes in. That was my mistake. We'd like to let everybody know that we are on the Deluxe Edition Network. They have like over 20 great, wonderful podcasts. One of the ones that I'd like to talk about is Stephen Jarvis. Go over there. He had a great guest on today. That with everything that messed up, he finally got the interview, and that's with Sandy Johnson. She was on Halloween 2 or Halloween 1. I'm sorry, Stephen. And we have that. Who is the podcast of the month?
So we got 2 podcasts of the month on the Deluxe Edition Network, and that is Barrel Age Flicks and History I'd Like to. So head on over to Deluxe. Yeah.
It's fuck that. Fuck that. Come on.
It is.
History I'd Like to fuck. Yes. Judith Myers. I'm sorry, Stephen. Yes, you're correct. Without any further mess ups on me, here's Matt Thrash.
Wow, Mark, you are just fucking up already, bro. I mean,
yes,
you get Thrasher wrong, you get Halloween 2 wrong, and now you just
it was Halloween 1. I'm sorry, I was saying it so fast and stuff. It was just I need to learn to slow down, and that's my habit. Yes,
okay. That's what my mom would say
when I was promoting him yesterday, I had put Thrasher instead of Thrash, and I'm sorry.
And don't worry, I already beat him up and stole his lunch money, so we're good.
Oh yeah. Well, start it all off. Where are you from?
So I'm actually originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, but now I currently reside in San Diego, California.
And what do you do?
And I just want to say that I was able to get the correct time. So
yes, you were.
if someone out there is listening, Andrew Jasic, I was able to get online correctly today.
I'm waiting for the response over here. Yes, I know. I was 3 hours late for my own interview, so that was
the next day when we did his interview, we gave him hell throughout the whole thing. It was funny.
Glad you should.
Tell people what you do for a living.
So I'm actually, Matt Thrash is an assistant facilities manager, where Rotten Ronnie is the walking, festering wound that you would call Rotten Ronnie for humanity. So.
When I seen you, what was it? I think it was episode 2 on SoCal. It was that little reel that you guys do.
Yes,
I seen that. I was like, oh hell yeah, I have to have him. just the persona that you gave out. It was like, yeah, next to making Andy look, so flustered at times. It is funny. You should go back and see the one that they did for what was it? April Fools.
Yes,
that was funny.
Episode 6.
Yes, that one I believe was just released. So yeah, it was funny.
So guys, before we continue on that portion of the conversation, let's tell people what we're talking about. If you guys don't know, Matt is Rotten Ronnie.
Rotten Ronnie Thrash. And don't you mess up the name, Brian, because I'll come to your house. I'll kick down your door, and then I'll take your mother out for a nice steak dinner. And I'll take her to the nicest restaurant in town, and I'll let her order the biggest steak, the mashed potatoes, and she can have all the chives, all the sour cream, all the bacon bits. And you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do while she's eating her steak? I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to sneak out the window because that's a rotten thing to do, leaving someone to pay for not one but two steak dinners. Because the name's Rotten Ronnie Thrash and they don't call me rotten for nothing.
It's fantastic. SoCal Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
Is a Southern California homegrown wrestling federation, I don't want to say federation, wrestling organization.
Yes.
It's always been huge.
Yes.
I lived in San Diego in the early 2000s. I wrestled in a small promotion called SAW.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm from too.
Another small promotion, New Wave Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
I did some refereeing. I learned to take bumps. And I get guys telling me all the time, wrestling's fake. Yeah.
Go take a bump. That's
You
what I
wanna
tell
do
them.
it?
Take a bump.
Like, listen, let me just jackhammer power drive you right here in the grass. I'll do it. I'll let you do it to me, and then you let me do it to you. And let's see, what happens.
Yeah, but we used to do that to each other in school, though.
Well, yes. I mean, DDTs all around. That was my favorite move ever.
Oh, I love it when people tell me it's fake. I'm like, yeah, go take that headshot with a chair or take that to your back or whatever. I said, yes, the outcome is prearranged, but you know what? Everything else, I mean, you got to learn this stuff, be able to take it the way that they do every day.
Yeah, it's not like you just climb in a ring and then all of a sudden you're just going to take a shot and be okay with it. No, you are absolutely, you're taking the shot over and over again to learn how to take the shot. Yep. Did it hurt the first time? Don't do it that way the second time.
Yeah.
Right, Matt?
Oh yeah, and that's what I tell people too. If they say wrestling's fake, I said, call up your local wrestling company, take a drive out there, get into the ring, and take one bump. Just take one bump, and if you can get up from that bump and say, "Oh, you know what, that felt fake," then by all means.
No, we're not going there,
Brian. Brian, I had to put it out there.
We're not going
just so. Oh, come on.
What was your wrestling name? If you were at New Wave and saw, then you should know me.
I chose the worst wrestling name ever. I just literally used to ride a motorcycle. I used to ride a Gixxer, and I wore Icon Motorhead gear, and I was Icon, not the Icon. Like, I was just Icon.
I don't remember that.
I wrestled for like 4 weeks and I was done. I hurt so bad. I'm gonna tell you, it hurt, dude.
Trevor and Andy beat you up, huh?
Badly. Yeah. That wrestling ring, when these guys started New Wave, that ring ended up in my backyard.
Oh,
in San Diego. They needed a housing for it. He wanted to start the school. Andy wanted to start the school. I said, absolutely, bring it to my house.
Oh,
my wife
was your house we were going to.
Yes, my wife was not a fan, but my kids absolutely fucking loved it.
Well, I would have loved it, man. I would have loved that, especially at that, my younger years. I would have loved that.
You know what's great about having a wrestling ring in your backyard, though, Brian? Whenever you and your wife are having marital issues, you just go jump in the ring, and whoever gets the pinfall, hey, you win the argument.
Yeah, that's right. Wrestling and taking bumps go hand in hand. Yes, you're absolutely right. Taking a bump is for.
No one came up.
It's not for everybody.
No.
But you didn't see the thing?
No. Other ones are not coming up. I have Facebook up, and their names are not coming up. So I was just curious.
Getting yelled at for taking a bump wrong was probably scarier than taking the bump. Because nobody wants you to get hurt. Yeah, it's definitely Andy. I would do dumb shit, and he would say, "You're gonna break your fucking neck."
Yeah, but he's right though. He's absolutely right.
Don't take the bump like that. Don't let your head hit the mat. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, slow down when you're doing something. Slow down. There's no
Yes.
reason to go fast pace all the time.
Yes, and that's a huge lesson to be learned is slow down when you're wrestling 100%.
Yep. Let's. How long have you been wrestling, Matt?
Oh man, so when I was actually in the ring still performing, I think I went just over 10 years. I started in Saw. Um, actually, like I think my first show, I just missed the very first Saw show, which was October 2004, I believe. And I came on just after that. So I think my first match was in February of 2005. And I remember just thinking like, I cannot believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. And just every show, every time I got to turn on Rotten Ronnie it's been so fun. And my favorite thing is going up to people and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a pro wrestler." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And my favorite thing is they always seem to think like pro wrestling is MMA for some reason.
Wow.
And I'll always like mess with them and go, no, MMA is fake. Wrestling's real. And they're like, "No, it's the other way around." I'm like, no. MMA is fake.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
MMA is fake. They don't really punch themselves in the face.
So, what actually got you into wrestling?
Oh man, it's a funny story. So I used to be a private investigator. I was like an assistant, and I worked downtown in downtown San Diego, and I would always go to KB Toys because we were right next to the mall. So I'd go get my parking validated at KB Toys so that I can, get in my car and go. And every time I would walk into this KB Toys, there'd be this guy working behind the counter, and he'd either have like green hair, pink hair, purple hair, but he'd always have like a fat lip or a black eye. And one day I asked him, I'm like, "Hey man, so like, do you get beat up because of your hair? Like, why do you always look like you just got beat to shit and then you came into work?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a pro wrestler." And I remember my eyes got really big and I was like, "Oh, wow." Because I'd always wanted to do it since I was a little boy. And he's like, "You're a big guy. You ever think about becoming a pro wrestler?" And I was just like, every goddamn day of my life. And he's like, "Oh, we'll call this guy and come on out." Like, he's the Colorado kid. And he's
Rapata.
Mike Rapata. And I had no idea who Mike Rapata was. And so I went out there. Actually, I called up Mike that night, and I was kind of telling him. And Mike was so freaking excited because I was a big dude. Like, as soon as I told him I was 6'4", 300 pounds, he's like, "Oh yeah, I can use you. Yeah. Come out to my house," as if that wasn't creepy enough. But yeah, the guy that
actually, in my backyard, come on down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, the guy that actually got me into it was none other than Christopher Terry, known as Big Daddy Destro in SoCal Pro. He was also the Amazing Web, as well as the Hammer, Chris O'Grady. So yeah, I owe everything to that dude for looking at me and just kind of saying, "You know what? Yeah, I think you'd be good in it." So great times, great times.
Let me ask you a question. In your 10-year career, the 10 years that you wrestled, what was your favorite match?
Oh man, I would probably say my favorite matches were always with two guys. One of them SoCal Crazy, the other one Matt Twisted.
Oh, yeah.
And I think my absolute favorite match was probably it wasn't even a sanctioned wrestling match. It was a talent show at the House of Blues in Anaheim. And I was actually working there as a security guard. And, they had an annual talent show. And they're like, "Hey, if you have a talent, like, come on in and do it." And I think they meant like, "Hey, like, if you can sing, come sing. If you can like rap, come rap." What did I do? I did a fucking hardcore wrestling match with Matt Twisted. And I remember we went and we got tables from our friend Vince, who was actually a professional mover at the time. So, we got tables. He went out and bought a shit ton of thumbtacks. Like, he put all these thumbtacks in this Crown Royal bag. And he even took a baseball bat and put barbed wire around it. Now, fun fact about Matt Twisted is when he does a hardcore match, he does not do it half-assed. This dude actually wrapped the bat in real barbed wire.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Oh,
and when
damn.
before we wrestled, like I'm like, dude, is that real barbed wire? And he's like, yeah, be careful.
Yeah, but wasn't Matt the one that was like, oh, if you don't want to take the shot, I'll take the shot?
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah, he
Matt,
was always-
Matt Twisted would literally like, if you said, I want to do a Canadian destroyer, but hey, I've never done one before, he's the first dude that raises his hand and said, I'll do it. I'll take it.
Yeah. See, I wanted to be that guy. Like, I mean, literally, I remember being at Mike's house, and it's like the 4th time that I was over there, and Andy's got these mats out, and he's like, all right, we're gonna learn how to do some front flips. And I was like, front flip? No. I want to do a back flip off the top rope. And he was like, you're not there yet. And I was like, I'm totally there. We're doing this. And I did it a couple of times. I would never do it in a match. It's scary because you don't know how you're going to land. Like my body would just, I'm 6'3". My body is not going to always rotate in the same direction all the time.
So they didn't,
especially after you wrestled a 20-minute match.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
They didn't have any dummy mats or anything like that when you
We
did
had
in indie wrestling, Brian?
Okay,
Come
that's
on,
true.
man.
That's true. Okay.
Come
I mean,
on,
some
bro. We
indies,
couldn't
you never
afford shit
know,
like that.
No, we had mats. We found some mats and we pulled them in the ring for just our practice. Like, okay, we're just going to put these in here. We're doing top rope stuff. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So now you're going to learn how to do a tuck and roll right off the top rope, basically. I mean, that's these are the easiest moves that you can learn, but you can really hurt yourself. Tuck and roll on the mat. Just do that a couple of times.
Tuck and roll
You
on
get
the mat.
so used to it that you forget to sometimes tuck. You
Yes.
go to roll and you're like, oh shit, I was supposed to tuck my head into my shoulder area, not.
And you roll over your neck.
Yeah, exactly. Not leave my head out and then roll over my head because that doesn't work.
So since we know what's wrong with Brian,
Oh,
how many injuries have you had?
You know, luckily, I've never had anything serious. The only thing I did have is I did dislocate my knee in the ring. I was kicked in the side of the head and lost vision for about 30 seconds. And then I actually have this from, what was his name in WWE? I think he was known as Ricardo Rodriguez. He came out and he announced for Alberto Del Rio.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Anyway,
Yes,
he gave me this.
Ooh.
So he basically dislocated my jaw. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it's
Oh yeah,
kinda
we can
gross.
hear it.
It's a fun party trick to do. People are like, what the hell? What the hell's wrong with you? But yeah, so luckily nothing crazy. Like just, dings and dents, as I like to call them.
So
I'm glad I got out when I did then. I don't
Yeah,
want a
man.
broken jaw. I mean, listen, I got a receipt from Andy one time. Yeah, I did a rolling into a clothesline. I did a rolling clothesline. We were doing we did a over the top rope battle royal at a church. Yeah, and I was already told like, hey, we want you to be like the third or the fourth guy out. And I was like, yeah, cool, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It was gonna come down to Andy, and it was gonna come down to Andy and Mike at the end of this match. Well, I did the rolling clothesline while Andy was in the middle turnbuckle, and he almost went out. So he came back to me and he says, gets a hold of me and says, I got your receipt. Wow, right in the freaking dome piece. It was a good time.
Did he punch you or did he chop you?
He punched me. I saw
Andy's punches are vicious.
They're vicious
right now. That dude is fun.
And then it was, I hit the ropes. He hip tossed me right onto the outside of the ring. So we were done. I was probably the fourth or fifth person out at that point after the receipt. Good times. I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. I wish I'd have done a little bit more because I remember I was in the Navy and I came back from a deployment, and I remember telling Andy, like, I'm ready to get back in the ring and I think I want to go through a table. He was like, "What the fuck is wrong with
Damn,
you?"
that's
He's like, "What
ambitious,
the fuck
dude.
is wrong with you?" I was like, "I don't know. I feel like I want to go through a table. Like yeah, you're not ready for that."
Sure you are. Anyone's ready to fall through a table. Have you ever been drunk at a party and you stumbling through the party and you go through a table?
Done it. I've done that.
Yeah. So
But I wasn't the one going through the table. I just helped somebody else go through the table.
You were an assistant in that table
Yeah.
fall, you know?
Yes.
Mark's not a big dude, but he can help you.
Oh, I bet.
I tried to get a piggyback ride from him one day when we were wasted.
Oh, come on. We were 15-year-old and we were drunk as hell. Come on.
Wasted.
And you jump. No, he tells me as he's jumping, I'm jumping on your back. You're carrying me. Boom. There I go. Face first. Yeah. No.
And that's when I knew I wanted to become a wrestler. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And that's what did it for me.
That's what did it.
Yeah. I was spitting up gravel out of my mouth for about a week, I think.
So you worked Saw, you've worked New Wave.
New Wave.
You worked SoCal. What other promotions have you been a part of? And did anybody try to make you change your persona?
So, you know, those were my three main ones. Saw, New Wave, and SoCal Pro. I did do like the smaller ones, like I did this one for this guy, Joe Cantrell, up in Riverside. I did do West Coast Wrestling Company for a little bit. And I even did, I can't remember his name, but it was just a scumbag promoter in San Diego. What do you call it? Like DJ Anderson or DJ Medina or whatever he called himself. Anyway, that guy, like, those matches were super fun, but he never paid anybody. It was always like, you know, if you got hurt, you were just basically on your own. Like you better be able to, you know, put your shoulder back in the socket. I also worked a couple of shows for, you know, he's pretty new to the game. I mean, he's been around, but I think he's pretty new to like running his own shows. But his name's Chris Disney. Did a few shows for him. And yeah, like, you know, no one's ever tried to make me change my persona just because Rotten Ronnie is like, I don't know what it is, but like, if he's a bad guy, he's over. If he's a good guy, he's over. It's like, no matter what I do, it's like no one hates me. Because he's just that big lovable idiot bully that, you know, at the end of the day, you know he's gonna get his like comeuppance, you know, like you know that like he's always gonna be like, damn you, you know. So, you know, it's just my character was always just so fun to be around. So no one really asked me to change. Like no one really said, you know what, dude, like you should probably go along with this. I mean, that actually did happen when I was at Saw, because I used to be known, like my first gimmick was called the Mercenary Matt Thrash. What I did is I came out with these big old like hunting Bowie knives.
Oh,
and
boy.
I remember Mike Rapato was just like, hey man, you got to change the gimmick. Like those knives are fucking scary.
So Mike, I remember towards the end of my time with SAW, Mike was trying to turn us into basically a cartoon character.
Oh yeah.
He wanted everybody to be, you know, the superhero, the funny, you know, we had Jalapeno.
Yep.
We had SoCal. We had, who else did we have? We had Matt Thrash.
Pirate Dave.
We had Pirate Dave. Yeah.
Yep.
Pirate Dave was my first. He was my first match, and he was trying to get me over, and I was like, dude, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And, you know, I literally was like, no, I'm not. I can't. And he walked me through this entire match, man. I couldn't call a match to save my life.
Yeah, I worked with him at Sony, and he would wear his wrestling gear to work. It was awesome. and he was actually like a lead for testers, and people would actually have to like come up to him and have a serious conversation about bugs or whatever they're looking for.
Yeah.
And there he is in full pirate gear, and it's so funny because when he's like not Pirate Dave, he's like the nicest dude.
Super nice guy.
So yeah, he was a trip, and we actually like kind of caught up at Sony, and we're talking about the old Saw days, and because basically I left with the first group after the Wave House incident. I don't know if Andy's ever told you that, But basically, we did the show at the Wave House in Belmont Park, and Mike had this big plan to unveil the first ever SAW heavyweight title, and he was gonna basically screw over Matt Twisted and take the belt, right? Because he was a heel, and it made a lot of sense. It would have been perfect, right? Well, he hired a kind of like this like security guard who was a huge fucking mark. And when the turn came, like the gimmick was coming on, the fucking guy who was head of security like detained everybody from doing the screw finish. So Mike got pissed and he came in and he just went on this tirade because he was so pissed. And he starts taking apart the ring, and I just remember thinking to myself, I don't think I want to be a part of this. Like, if this is what wrestling is, I don't want to do it. So I walked away. But it was kind of good that first group left, because then it brought in guys like yourself and Andy, and Trevor was still there. So if it wasn't for Andy and Trevor getting together, we would have never had Anchors Away.
Oh yeah,
it was actually like my favorite tag team ever in professional wrestling. Like, I'll take them over the Rockers, Heart Foundation, Demolition, Legion of Doom. All of them can go away. Anchors Away. That's my team.
I'd like to see them against them.
Right? I think the Anchors would take like someone like
they would have been a great one in the 80s, early 90s. Type. Especially watching some of their matches back. What I can find of them.
Could you imagine like Hawk going to the top rope, getting ready to do the Doomsday Device, and fucking Andy or David E. Jones sneaks up and pushes him off and like goes, fucker, and then he runs into the side of the ring post or whatever he do.
Yeah, no, that shit's funny. Yeah. Like, we were talking about their funniest moment in the ring, and all of them. So my thing, and I was going to ask you this question too, during your SAW, during your New Wave run, during your SoCal run, who has cut the best promo? Do you have a promo maker that you would say, dude, I want that guy to write a promo for me?
The absolute best promo writer in indie wrestling is Andy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like he actually helped put Rotten Ronnie to where he is now. Like Andy and I would talk about my gimmick, and like he would be like, dude, like when you're talking, you need to like maybe be like a little bit more animated and like be like a little crazy when you talk. And so like that's what I would do is when I would turn it on Rotten Ronnie, I would literally like turn off everything else and just think like, what would an insane person say right now? like what would a crazy person say right now? Yeah, he's got to talk about all the stuff with the gimmick and the place, and he's gonna make no sense, and he's gonna say things like he's gonna come out, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna go to this place and I'm gonna do a video and it's gonna go venereal. Don't you mean viral? No, I know what I said. Don't you ever contradict me. So you just like, he was just like, dude, like maybe you should like cut patches into your head and like just be nuts. And I remember once I started doing that, like both Andy and Trevor were like, dude, we got to make Thrash champion. Like we have to. He's too good.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what titles have you held?
I've actually only held one title in my entire career, and that was the New Wave Heavyweight Championship.
I remember that belt. I remember the creation of that belt. I remember.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember when they asked me. They're like, "Hey, do you mind if we put the belt on you?" And I'm like, "Okay."
They were so humble, man. So for me, when I was with Saul, like I feel like I saw the belt on Mike. He wanted to be the winner of everything, and like when him and Andy went at it. I reffed a match down at the beach for them, and they did this spot where Mike suplexed Andy right off the top rope, and I'm reffing, and I'm right in the middle of the ring, and everybody's like, "Dude, you got to move," and that fucking foot of Andy's just came so close to my face, and I was just like, not moving, staying right here. Go ahead, if you hit me, you hit me. Listen, that was the gift. I got knocked down. I'm knocked out. The ref's not gonna try to slow move over to the. No, I'm gonna stay right here, and we're gonna take whatever's coming.
Good job, Brian.
By that much, dude. I was like, oh.
Dude, you should get back into reffing and just call yourself the stubborn ref.
The stubborn ref, because I'm not doing.
You're just like, no.
Now I have to put this up on the screen because it just it just makes me laugh every time I read it.
My wife's thong on my face backwards. Reenact my favorite scenes from Nacho Libre. Oh my god. Who is that?
Can we see a picture of that?
He goes by You Soldier.
Yep, we're gonna have to figure out who that is.
We need to see a picture of that, You Soldier. Come on, man, let's see it.
The other question that he asks is, well, you've already answered this one, but I'm gonna let you tell people.
Who's my favorite WWE wrestler, like of all time? Or are we talking like? Well, I guess we're talking all time. So I actually have two. My favorite WWF wrestlers were Ravishing Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect. I think they were the absolute workhorses of the 80s into the 90s. I even remember watching on the WCW Nitro, I believe it was, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, fought the Giant, the Big Show. And he fucking put the Giant into the Perfect Plex or the Hennig Plex.
Yeah. And
it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And then what he did is he had the Giant kick out and then kip up and then chokeslam him. And I just thought, it's just stuff like that. That's what makes wrestling for me. When you have like those moments that are just so unexpected that you're just like, holy crap. Like the entire, like when I think about wrestling from back in the day, and I think about it a lot, I always think of that moment and just go, wow. Like if you were to talk about Monday Night Nitro, like I would say like, oh yeah, Hulk Hogan did that thing with the group and the thing, and they had Razor Ramon and what's his face,
NWA.
But Kurt Hennig, he fucking perfect plexed the Giant. So yeah, I would have to say those two, man. Those guys, and I mean Ravishing Rick Rude, he was legitimately a tough guy. Like if you heard stories about him, like if he went to the bar, he was the guy that would finish the fight. And like if you looked at him, you're just like, oh, okay, like he's a pretty boy, but like you like
he was a bouncer before he was a
yes. Well, that's what a lot of those guys were.
He was the original Italian stallion.
Yeah, he was. It was the interesting part on that is because they all worked at. A lot of them worked at the same bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes,
and that's how they all got their jobs. Is they all look good. Let's see what happens.
Yes,
AWA, NWA, all of them. They wanted big wrestlers. They wanted, and well, Hennig and Ravishing Rick Rude are best friends in real life. So I mean, it was great. 80s and 90s gave out a lot of good wrestlers.
Oh yeah, like I still if I watch wrestling, that's the only 2 decades I watch. Sorry, everyone. I don't watch anything of the new ones. If you ask me who Roman Reigns is, I'm going to say that sounds like a lovely nail varnish. Like, I'm sorry.
He's over right now. He's been the champion for 1,000 days, if that means
almost 1,000 days.
By the time
it's over, he'll be the champion over 1,000 days.
See, I like the days when it was simple, when it was like there was a heavyweight title, a tag team title, and an intercontinental championship.
There's a lot of titles now.
There's like 19 titles from what I hear. Like everyone's like, "Oh man, did you watch the SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion?" Like, I'm like,
I think they're trying. I think that they're trying to combine all the titles together now.
I hope so, because when it was just 3, I felt like it meant more.
Oh, I think
because they pretty much showed it yesterday on Raw that they're going to make the SmackDown, and Raw Women's title together because they teased it.
So is it true that the MMA parent company bought?
Yes,
WWE?
Endeavor did buy. Endeavor merged. No, it wasn't a buyout. It was a merge that Vince still won a whole or got a shit ton of money out of.
Yeah,
So-
$9 billion.
So does that mean all the fake wrestlers are going to have to learn how to fight MMA and shit?
Wouldn't that be
I
great?
think
Well,
I think
that's
Ronda
what-
and Brock are just like, yo, cool, no worries.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I would love to see them cross over a little bit, but I couldn't see them going the other way with, I could see the MMA fighters going over to WWE and wrestle, but I don't see it the other way around unless, it's, big time and they think that they could get over.
That would be hilarious though, seeing some of these MMA guys like doing pro wrestling, thinking like, oh yeah, that shit's fake, and then they get in the ring like, oh shit.
Like, how do
Oh,
I
I
get my fingers
I mean,
out? Like, what the hell?
You've had some success of MMA fighters going over to
Yeah.
WWE,
Yeah.
One.
but you don't see too many wrestlers going over to the other side to try. When they do it, they fail.
Mhm.
Minus a few, like Brock Lesnar.
Mhm.
What the hell's his name? He's in AEW. Give me a second. I can't remember his name right now. Oh shit.
Well, while you're thinking about that, here's a fun thing about AEW. Jungle Boy, he actually wrestled on a New Wave show way back in the day, and
He
I was the champion of that
16, I
show.
think. Wasn't he 16 or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey,
and
Brian,
I remember I was the
Yeah,
champion, and I think when he wrestled, he was just like a little boy,
Mhm.
and I think we're all geeking at the fact that Luke Perry was there. And I remember, Luke Perry came back and I grabbed his son. I'm like, hey, kid, come here. And I put the belt around him, like, get used to wearing this. We took a picture. And I've always wondered if, Jungle Boy still has that picture somewhere.
I'd love
think
to be able to
I would
talk
be
to him.
tickled as shit if he did.
I'd love to be able to talk to him. Hey, Brian,
Yes.
you're echoing.
Yeah, you sound like God, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Hang on. Let me see if I can fix it.
He might have to call in his technical difficulty person.
His wife?
Tell me when.
No, still really bad now.
Better?
Nope.
Worse?
You might want to call. You might want to call in your
All right. I'm gonna have to go headphones. Give me a second. You guys talk. Let me text my son-in-law.
There you go.
Jake Hager. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
He's like 4 or 5-0 in the promotion he's at. But yeah, you don't get too many of them though.
No.
I mean, Bobby Lashley had started doing it, but once he went back to WWE, they made him stop. So
Yeah, but I mean, I just remember like legitimately tough guys. Like, remember in the '90s when they did that? What was that? Remember when they did like that boxing kind of
Brawl for all.
competition?
yeah, the brawl for
And
all.
remember Bart
Yes.
Gunn?
Yes, he did good until he
God.
went up against. He did good until he went up against Butterbean. Yeah.
Butterbean, yeah, but that's Butterbean.
Come on, you didn't realize that nobody knew that Butterbean was going to be the prize.
Yeah, to fight Butterbean, like I'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah, I would have passed up. Now, your whole time in wrestling, have you come across any assholes?
Oh my God, dude.
Every day of the week.
Well, yeah, you're still ugly.
Are you
I mean-
serious?
Yes, calling your brother or your son-in-law. Who's the biggest asshole you've come across? I mean, you don't have to say. Yeah, you have to say his name. No,
Yeah.
No, you don't have to say his name.
no, you
Man, the
just
biggest asshole in wrestling. You see, it's funny because almost like everyone in indie wrestling is an asshole because
They
it's
try to live
all
up to-
egos.
yeah, they try to have it.
I think I was the only person in wrestling that only like saw indie wrestling as a hobby, where everyone else is like, no, this is real. I'm going to make this big. And, I honestly think probably the biggest asshole were the promoters who didn't pay their guys. So I would have to say
okay,
any of the
yeah.
promoters I work for that didn't pay the boys are the biggest assholes. So the only one
I mean,
I
so
can
far,
think of is
I've
JD
heard of-
Medina.
Yeah, I've heard of a few that were, I read about them on the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
You actually hear of that. Did you ever have a dream match that you wanted to do?
Yes, I did. In fact, it was actually teased to me and it never happened because the promoter, again, was a lying asshole. But he said, I want to have you wrestle Vader. I'm going to get Vader to wrestle you. And I was like, holy shit, if I get to wrestle Vader, I will die happy. Right?
Oh,
It obviously never happened, but you know, luckily in indie wrestling, I've actually had my dream matches. There was actually only one match that I didn't really get to have. That would have been just awesome for me, and that would have been if I fought Jason Redondo. Jason Redondo was, you know, he was the champion of SoCal Pro. In fact, I think he was the first ever SoCal Pro champion. And, you know, what's awesome about him is he actually fought like Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, a lot of those guys in like the late 90s, like mid to late 90s, as he was one of the, I guess they consider like the beat up guys, the jobber.
the enhancers. Yeah.
I mean, still like he got the Yokozuna bonsai drop put on him. He got put in the Razor's Edge. He got the Shawn Michaels super kick. In fact, I believe that the Sweet Chin music was actually the first time done on Jason Redondo. And after that,
Well, was he part of the Rockers at that time?
Well, he was Shawn Michaels, but he was like, you know, the sexy boy Shawn Michaels. Like,
well, the first one that ever got the first one that's ever got the Sweet Chin music was actually Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, but that was only called the Crescent Kick at the time.
Right. That was before he actually called it
kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember he did the slingshot suplex. No one can hear you, Brian.
No. You hear Brian? Oh, fucking shit.
Oh, he's so mad. Look at him. He wants to ask a question so bad, but he can't. Huh, Brian? Write it down, bro. Write it down. Hold it up. But yeah, no, not a lot of people can honestly say that, you know, Shawn Michaels debuted the actual Sweet Chin music, calling it the Sweet Chin music on your face. So I think that's amazing. I always wanted to fight him. I never got the opportunity, which still bums me out to this day. And every time I see him at shows, I'm always like, dude, we gotta do a match. And he's like, no, can't. I'm done. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done too.
Did you ever have a tryout with any of the big corporate? Well, they really didn't have any big ones like WWE or TNA. I believe Ring of Honor was about that time too.
And so the closest I ever got was I did. TNA was in town to do like an autograph signing, I think, because they had a show, and they wanted wrestlers, like local indie wrestlers, to be the security, and that was probably the closest I got. And like it was cool. Like I never got, you know, to, you know, go into the big shows, but if I did, I actually wanted to go east, and I wanted to go make it in Japan, only because the Japanese fan base, like, they treat it like it's a real sport, and I always wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, so does Mexico, though. I mean,
yes, well, Mexico.
I've heard how bad they are there. You know, the death threats, everything. If the wrong
Mexico's
person wins.
wild. I love Mexico.
I heard a lot. I've read a lot of stories about like New Japan Wrestling and stuff like that, and I mean, it just sounds like it would be a wonderful time, a place to be, especially how their fans are. You know, when you first come out, you're cheered for. At the end, you're cheered for. But they're in the middle of it. You're like, what the hell? How come they're not cheering or anything else? That's because
why is everyone so quiet? I in fact pissed off a Mexican crowd one time. We were the match was me and SoCal Crazy. And what he needed someone to, you know, basically be a big white guy in Mexico. And I think we did it in like Tijuana or something. Anyway, we came out to the show, and I remember they said, you know, our main event's late. Can you guys go out and just kind of jabber with the crowd? Yeah, sure, no problem. And I'm like, what can I do? And he's like, oh, well, I need you to go piss him off. I said, okay, define piss him off. Like, how far can I go? And he's like, look, I just want you to rile up the crowd enough to make them want to hate you to the point that, like, they want to kill you. Okay, here's what I need. So I asked for 2 of those toy lawnmowers, the ones that you would push and like the balls would pop.
Yeah.
So I asked for 2 of those, and one of his little lackeys was like, oh, I have those. And I'm like, can you go get them? And he's like, yeah, I'll go get them. So he went home, and I think he stole them out of his daughter's hands or something. I don't know. But he brings them back, and, I'm going to go out. And the promoter's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, you said piss off the crowd, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go out there and be as white as I can be. So I walked out there, and, already being a white face in Mexico, you're going to get booed.
You already
right?
pissed somebody off, yeah.
So I walked into the ring, and I remember I was kind of standing there, and the ring announcer was kind of looking at me like, what are we doing? And I basically just started talking. I'm like, I'm going to need 2 volunteers. And then the ring announcer would say it in Spanish. And, I got 2 kids into the ring. And basically what I did is I'm like, all right, I need you to take this, and I need you to take this one, and I need you to walk that way with it, and I need you to walk that way with it. So, he would explain it in Spanish, like, hey, walk this way, walk this way. And as they're doing it, I'm sitting there watching, and I go, all right, that's pretty good. You show up to my house Monday morning at 8 a.m. You get out of the ring. And I remember the crowd went quiet, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I remembered looking up specifically, and I saw this guy that was just like kind of sitting by himself, like staring dead at me. And he gets up and he leaves. And I'm like, yes, I got someone to leave. Fuck yeah. Right. So at that time, SoCal Crazy comes down, and now it turned in from a 1-on-1 match, and now it's a 3 versus 3 match. And we start, doing the match. And as I'm, on the side waiting for a tag, I kind of look up and I see that guy coming back, but he's carrying like a shit ton of like tortillas. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he's handing out all these tortillas to the crowd.
Oh, damn.
And all of a sudden, I get tagged in, and here I come, and as soon as I come in, whack, and I get smacked in the face with a fucking tortilla. And these people just start chucking tortillas at us. And I remember looking at SoCal, and I was kind of like, what do we do? And he's like, use it. He fucking starts grabbing it and like punching me in the face with tortillas. Like my tag team partners who like barely spoke any English are like feeding me tortillas. And oh man, it was so much fun. And I just remember getting into the back, and just all the boys were laughing, and everyone was just having a good time. Man, it was so fun. But I wish I could remember the name of that promotion, because it was so fun.
Are you sure that he actually said what you said and didn't say something else?
Oh, I'm sure he did. I'm probably embellishing the story a little bit, but probably like, you motherfucker, you got all these people that go spend their hard-earned money to buy tortillas to throw them at you. What are you playing with your pop collection? What are you doing over there, bro?
No, Pen. I'm crossing off the questions that I've asked and stuff. I have to wait for Brian to come in to ask that one, but fuck it, I didn't need the pen anyways. So you don't keep up with nowadays wrestling? Why?
Honestly, it bores me. Like, watching it back in the day, I feel like all those guys told a story. They told a story in the ring, and you just became so enthralled with what they were doing. And I feel like nowadays it's all high spots, and it's all like, hey, how many flippity flu-flaws can we do in this match? And, make everyone like go, oh, wow, that was crazy. Like, it's not like back in the day when a body slam like meant, holy crap, like he just picked that big dude up and body slammed him. That's incredible. So, like nothing against today's wrestling. I mean, people watch it and they love it. And I think that's great that, wrestling is still being admired today. And I mean, obviously it helps indie promotions out a ton. But yeah, I can't get into it. Like I've tried watching it, I've tried playing the games, and I'm just like, I don't care about who these people are. Like I don't care about a Sami Zayn. You know what I mean? I just don't care. I know that sounds horrible. If Sami Zayn is listening, hey man, I appreciate what you do, but it just ain't for me.
Is it because there's no storyline anymore?
It's like, there's just no storyline. Maybe it's because I'm older, but maybe like the biggest thing is because I've actually, done it. And so now I kind of know what wrestling's about a little bit. So maybe I'm,
it could have some toll on you because,
we know the inside scoop, I think, is what's happening here. But, I still dig it. I think I would write it a little bit differently because we were able to work behind the scenes and like we got a chance to kind of help write our personas and help write our matches. And,
with indies though, you get probably a little bit more leeway with your stories.
I mean, I think it really depends on who your promoters are and stuff like that too. If Andy and oh my God, Trevor didn't want us to do something, they would have just came out and told us straight up, like, hey,
they would have said that doesn't make any sense, don't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, don't do it. Like Andy tried to tell me, he was like, listen, I started my career and I was the Enigma. Don't be the Enigma. Don't be that. Don't pick that as a. And I was like, I don't know what I should be. Like, what's my persona? What do I do?
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. So you just come up with the most randomness, or if you have a gimmick. I mean, if you have worked on something for a long time, and you could be like, oh yeah, I used to be a garbage man. Now you're the fucking garbage man wrestler. Now you're
But see, that's also, that's true in a lot of ways. But I mean, like when I took Rotten Ronnie, my stepdad actually would call me Rotten Ronnie as kind of like a like he was kind of making fun of me because I was such a wild kid. And he would say, when you go to prison, you're going to be known as Rotten Ronnie Thrash. And I remember I hated that name as a kid. So what I did is when I became a wrestler, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take Rotten Ronnie and I'm going to turn him into everything that I hate, into everything that everyone else hates, and create this persona that either people can get behind or be against. And it just worked, man. I was like, okay, what did I used to be? I used to be a bully in high school. I used to bully kids. I literally put a kid in a trash can, picked him up, and threw him down the fucking steps. I mean, I was a terror. I was horrible. And, if it wasn't for me reforming and becoming like, actually like just like learning that, holy shit, why am I beating up nerdy kids when I'm probably the biggest nerdy kid in school? So I just kind of take that, like what I know from being a bully and what I know from standing up to bullies, and I really kind of try and send a positive message to everyone, like, hey, if you see a bully, don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid to go up to him and say, hey, you're a bully, and what you're doing is wrong. And that's just what I try and teach, kind of as I do Rotten Ronnie, and just be the biggest idiot I can be. But yeah, like, it doesn't matter if you were like a trash man or you did this or that, or like maybe you were, ballerina or whatever. You can do all the crazy splits like the dude in Die Hard. It doesn't matter. You just go out and you do it. You find what works. And once you find your niche, that's when you just take it home, baby. And you just go and do it. That's it. That's all I can tell you. If you want to become a pro wrestler out there, find your gimmick, find your voice, and run with it.
I think that's great advice for anybody that is coming up. Other advice that you'd give anybody that wants to get into wrestling?
Absolutely. I say go for it. If you've ever thought about becoming a pro wrestler and you're afraid like, oh, it's going to hurt, I don't have any money to do it, there are a lot of great indie promotions out there that will give you your chance. And, you know, if you just spend a little bit of time, get in there and do your thing, then you can actually say that you did it. You became a pro wrestler, and you can, you know, mark it off your bucket list, whatever you want to do. But what I will say is, if you do want to become a pro wrestler, just know that it never leaves you. Like, I've been retired for probably 8 years now, and I mean, I still want to jump in the ring. And, you know, it's just something that it never leaves you. So I would definitely just say, follow your dreams, get out there and do it. If you've always wanted to do it, what's the worst that can happen?
That's right.
You never know.
Do you still go back though to SoCal every once in a while? Is that right?
Yeah. So in fact, we do a weekly show, which is SCP TV. And honestly, the only reason why I literally came back in January, only because I just showed up at the show, and the promoter was like, "Oh, hey man, I didn't know you were coming." I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I figured I'd just come hang out." I'm like, "Is there anything you need me to do?" And he goes, "Well, you want to run the raffle?" I'm like, "Yeah, can I do it as Rotten Ronnie?" He's like, "Yeah." So, you know, I came back and started doing that, and you know, Andrew was there, and he was doing the ring announcing, and he was just like, "Dude, you know what we should do? We should do like a weekly television show of like a recap of like, you know, wrestling in Southern California, and like we should do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, we like, let's do it for SoCal Pro, and we can do recaps of the show." And we've been doing it, and it's just been so fun. And honestly, it's so funny because I know he tries to channel like kind of like the superstars, like the remember superstars back in the day? They
Yeah.
have the recap.
Yeah.
He's trying to do that, and all I'm thinking about is like, okay, I think it would be funny if I made this shit like MXC. So it's been a blast, man. Working with Andy is it's so fun. Every time we work together, I think we just have amazing chemistry. And in fact, we're even doing another online show in which we call it Retro Rental Review. And what we do is we just talk about like renting videos and games and pay-per-views from like the time of the video store, like when it was VHS tapes, and you know, taking them home and watching it and talking, like, then we just talk about it for like, you know, 40 minutes or whatever. We've done episode 1, which is on House, you know, with William Catt and George Wendt, and then we just did episode 2, which, you know, we're still editing and stuff like that, but it was on Night of the Creeps, if you've ever seen that movie. But yeah, you know, it's been a lot of fun working with Andy, man. I honestly can say, you know, coming back and working with him and kind of helping out these younger guys, you know, find their voice, find their talent, and obviously working with some of the legends and you know, who guys who've been around forever in Southern California, guys like Tommy Wilson. SoCal Crazy just came back, which is, you know, fucking fantastic.
Is he back in the ring full time now, or is he part time getting?
So right now he's part time. You know, he's still working out the kinks, but
Yeah.
you know, knowing SoCal, he'll be back in the ring full time. Knowing that guy, they're like, we just did a show called "You Can't Kill Crazy," and we called it that for a reason.
That show right there that I'm watching right now.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I did. I even did a
Exactly
little
what's playing in the
commentary.
background, Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it was funny. I was kind of watching it, and I'm like, is that Matthias?
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy was actually, I think he was like one of the first matches on this, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was the first match.
Yeah. These
Did
guys
you
are
did you
great.
see it yet?
I haven't watched the whole thing. I get a chance to view it every once in a while. Like, I don't have a lot of time at work, so I try to put on, like, I'm trying to watch your show now with Andy, and I tried to watch that with House, and I was just like, all right, I'll come back to this later. I got to do this paperwork. Oh, shit. Where was I at in this thing? So now I got to rewind it. I got to fast forward. I'm like, son of a bitch, dude.
There you go. That's why it's called Retro Rewind, baby.
So for our younger viewers out there, a VHS tape was this thing that we used to rent. It was about this freaking big, and it was like a giant cassette tape that you could play on a VHS player, because we didn't have DVDs back then.
Which was called a VCR, kids.
Yeah, VCR. That's it. VCR. Video. What is it? Video.
Like video compact recorder. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's
Is that
what it is. I think so.
But no, that's great because I wish that you could still go to a Blockbuster and walk in and rent.
Yes.
I want to be able to pull something off a shelf. I want to spend 13 minutes in the fucking one aisle going, have I seen this yet? Have I seen this? You know what I'm talking about?
I would get lost in the horror section every time. And I would just look at all the horror movies and just go, oh man, what's this one about? And literally just go off of what the picture showed me.
Yeah.
And
you're making up your own story in your head. You're like,
yeah. Like one of my favorite movies I used to rent all the time, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Love it.
Yes.
In fact, I was watching that shit the other day just because I'm like, I'm going to watch that movie. That movie is so great.
Yes, that's what I did the other day. Well, a couple weeks back, I watched it. I was like, wow, I forgot what it was like.
It's such a fun movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish they would have made a second one to it, but it ended pretty,
supposed to make a video game or something.
Yeah, they're going to make a video game.
Yes.
Super excited about that.
I will have it.
Yeah.
You watch.
Why did they wait so long?
I hope it's a first-person shooter. I can kill people with the popcorn gun.
That's great.
I think it's going to be first and third. So.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
I hope so because I don't like first person. So, that's how I am.
You don't want to play Killer Clown from Outer Space Call of Duty Edition, dude?
Oh no, that's
I'd be killed every time.
That's going to be on the new Modern Warfare. That's going to be season 3.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's like the character you get to pick. Like you get to pick one of the clowns, and you'd be like, "All right, cool. This is me. I'm doing this."
We're picking Jumbo.
People the frickin' with the toy bag.
Yes, I'm picking Jumbo, and I'm turning people into puppets. That's all.
Yeah, there you go.
When you were wrestling, so you're not wrestling anymore at all. Like, do you get in the ring every once in a while?
The only time I get into the ring is to announce raffle winners with Andy. That's it.
So nobody's come up and said, "Hey, look, I want to squeeze you into the show, and I kind of want to do like a super kick or anything like that." Would you take the bump?
And that's the thing is, yes, I do get guys that tell me like, "Dude, you have one more match, you can do it," and it's so funny because, like, if they're listening, I know they're gonna fucking salivate over this, but like, if Tommy Wilson came up to me at the next show and he's like, "Dude, I need you to jump in the ring and take a super kick," like, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can't. It's like if it helps them, get over on the spot that they want to do, it's like why not just do it,
Yeah.
Who was your last match with?
My retirement match was at SoCal Pro, and it was actually a cluster of people. It was I think it was like a 3-man tag cage match. And it's so funny too, because I relive this match in my head every day because I don't know why, but I was so nervous to do this cage match. It was my first cage match ever, and I was super nervous because I was in there with guys like, Big Daddy Destro, Tommy Wilson, Anthony Idol, which is actually one of my favorites in indie wrestling. I think Anthony Idol is just terrific. And there's also this guy Mike Camden in there, and just all these, like, all the top stars of SoCal Pro. So I was like, holy shit, I'm in the main event. Holy shit, it's a cage match. I gotta do something big. And I remember the first time in my career, and I actually let someone cut me. Usually when you gig, now I'll give you a little bit behind the scenes of how wrestling does blood.
We won't tell anybody else.
Okay, just your listeners, cool.
Yes, that's it. The 3 of us.
But what you do is you hide a razor blade on like your tape, or like some guys would hide it in their mouth. I don't know how the fuck they did that, but
Fuck that.
But what you do is you take this little razor blade, you give yourself a little nick on your forehead, and you got color. I've always prided myself on doing my own blading, because what I would do is I'd cut up in my hairline so that you couldn't see the scars, because I had to go to work the next day. And for the first time, I don't know why, but I let SoCal Crazy cut me. And I remember it was time to do the gig. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. And he's like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And he just goes, whoosh, And I'm like,
Oh,
oh shit.
damn.
Now before that, I told you I was nervous, right? Well, I was taking this pre-workout called Craze. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
take
shit.
pre-workout, but Craze before it was, dulled down, basically had the form of meth in it because it gave you like that, hey, I want to go work out. And it worked. Like when I took that stuff, I could probably do like 900 bicep curls with a
I need that
40-pound
now.
dumbbell. Right? So I took some of that stuff because I was so nervous. And I remember, my heart was beating, and
Oh, you're bleeding bad now.
like as soon as I got cut, I was just gushing. And there was even a part of the match where I was kind of laying by the cage, and one of the managers, Everett Scott, was kind of circling around the cage because I believe he was managing Anthony Idol at the time. And he comes up to me, and I just hear, Thrash? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then afterwards, I was talking to him about it. He's like, dude, when I asked you if you were okay, your head was just going black, 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 just shooting blood out. And oh man, like my biggest regret is doing that because I know I could have given a stellar match with all those dudes. And instead it was like I couldn't climb the cage because I lost so much blood. I got lightheaded.
You can't see anything.
I was forgetting a lot of the spots in the match, and I was like, oh man. But it was also like, maybe it's time that I hang up the boots because if I'm doing this, getting nervous on like matches like this, then, maybe I don't belong. But I don't know. That's just me. You always beat yourself up for what you could have done, but
So, with our viewers, the couple that we do have, what match would you want them to go back and watch from you? And a two-part question here because I know.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to go. Sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to go back and watch that match now.
Okay. Well, the match that I want you all to watch, if you can find it, I want you to watch the House of Blues hardcore match. The first one that we did. That's by far my favorite match ever, but I don't think you're going to be able to find it because it was probably removed for whatever reason.
But too much blood, probably.
Probably, but
Community
I do have like a kind of like a compilation of when I retired. I had a buddy of mine who made a great kind of like send-off package for me. I would watch that, but if you want to watch a match that's great, watch any match with me, SoCal Crazy, or Matt Twisted. I'm telling you, we would always tear the roof off the place.
What was your finisher? I don't think we got to that one. What was your finisher?
So my finisher was basically a modified boss man slam. If you ever watched Abyss from TNA, he would do that move where he'd basically grab you and then he'd sit you down instead of like boss man where he'd like kind of go to his knees. So what I did is I modified that and did a boss man slam, but I spun all the way around and then sat down with you as I slammed you down. And I called it Swinging the Dead. And why I called it that is because Rotten Ronnie, being an idiot, would always say this to the crowd. If you people don't shut your mouth, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to give you an STD. And of course, people would go, oh, gross. I'd be like, oh, it means swinging the dead. Grow up. God, you people are so gross. And it was so fun. And then actually in SoCal Pro, I found that I had a really good choke slam. So the choke slam became kind of like my secondary finisher. And it's actually still my finisher, I guess, if I were to come back today. Because everybody knows the choke slam. If you see Swinging the Dead, they're like, oh, that was a cool move. Then, oh, that's his finisher. Oh, okay. But yeah, those are my moves.
Okay. What do you consider to be your best work? Your best work?
Like,
I'm talking
honestly,
about TikTok here, work.
Like honestly, right now, I think my best work is doing SCP TV with Andy.
Okay.
It's been so fun, and I really feel like Rotten Ronnie right now is at his absolute peak of being a character. And it's just he's just sitting there doing a recap show and selling raffle tickets. And I'm telling you, it's probably the most fun I've ever had as Rotten Ronnie.
Quite honestly, I agree that between you and Andy, you both work great together. It's
Yeah.
like watching back in the '80s, like Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
Yes.
Something like that. It's great to watch, and it's funny because looking at Andy's face, the stuff that you do, and it's like, wow. And I mean, if people ever have any, want to see what I'm talking about, just go back and watch the what is it called? CP.
SCP TV. You can find it on the SoCal Pro YouTube channel.
Yep.
And for those who have a Roku, you can download the SoCal Wrestling app. That's what I have playing in the background.
Yes, and it rakes up your leaves perfectly.
And we're going to be watching. And it goes along with my next question. We're going to be watching a team next Saturday get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Called who, Brian?
That is Anchors Away.
Yes.
They'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm super, super happy for those guys.
Yes.
I like this week, on the first that they were talking about the Hall of Fame, and then they were hinting at but they never said who it was, so it worked out perfect. And it was playing on that's one of the reasons why I was thinking about it, because it was playing on the back on the TV.
Oh, was it playing back there?
Yeah, it was playing back there. They were the character that I don't remember the guy's name because I'm not good with that. He was talking about him being put in the Hall of Fame, and it's his own handwriting and all that. Yeah, it was freaking funny.
It was hilarious. Like, Mr. Impressive has been so funny. And I'm just so stoked for the anchors going in. Those guys absolutely deserve it.
Are they the only ones being inducted?
No, I think there was like four others. Is that right? 3 or 4?
I'm actually not sure. I probably won't find out till we do the next taping for episode 7. But I'm not sure. That's another fun thing about indie wrestling is you never know what's going on until it happens.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you right now, like, you know what? I bet you so and so is going to win the title at the next show, but it never happens out like that. Like, it could be the night before, and the championship belt breaks. Like the main plate falls off or something, and then it's like, oh well, we can't have the title match. So
I'm just gonna say that I stole it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about indie wrestling is you never know what's going to happen. You never know. So that's another reason why I love it, is because you're just always on your toes, and you can't, like, people. Oh, what's going to happen? Is like, I don't know. Oh, no, I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Sometimes you don't know until the day of even a couple minutes beforehand.
Yes, I've actually gone into shows like, not really thinking, well, oh yeah, I'm not even on the show. I'll just go help out, set up the ring or whatever. And I'll go in and it's like, Thrash, do you have your gear? Yeah. Okay, I need you up. You're on 7th. Okay.
Yeah, you need to get with so and so and start calling your manager.
You need to get with so and so and talk about what you're going to do. He's going over, so just figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, make it work. You got it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Matt. Was there ever a match that you got put into that you didn't want to work?
Yes, I did. I was put into a handcuff match with I forget his name. I think it was like I can't even remember his name, but I was put into this match with this guy that I really don't like, and I just remember being pissed off the entire time, and the match had a botched finish. And I remember he even pissed off the referee so bad that the referee, like, as I'm handcuffed to the fucking rope and lost, the referee, like, says, "Fuck you, you lose, he wins," and comes and holds my hand up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This sucks.
I wouldn't
But
want to
yeah,
be in that
I
type of
can't
match
remember the
anyways.
guy's name. That's
okay.
how much I hated it.
That's okay. Hey, listen, that's why I asked the question, because there's matches that people were in and they're like, I hated it because it wasn't a great match. I hated it because I really hurt myself bad,
Yeah.
trying to do, his finisher or something like that, because that's happened. Oh, hey, listen, I'm going to put you up on so and so shoulders, and I'm just, we're just going to do a guillotine neck drop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do what now?
Yeah.
Do what? Yeah, what?
And usually if I didn't like a match, it was because I felt like my performance wasn't as good as I could have done. Like I always think, a wrestler's job is to pull the fan out of their 9-to-5 life and throw it into the wrestler's crazy world of wacky wrestling. And if you're not able to do that, like if you have like a dead crowd and they're just not behind it, then I feel like, I kind of let them down. And, I let down the promotion because these people paid, and, the promotion has to make money to survive. And I would always feel like, oh man, I really fucked up my match. And, I probably cost the promotion money. And, now it's a business standpoint. Oh my God,
Yeah, that's the one thing that you never want to do. You never want to, upset your promoter. And that was, like I said, I didn't work many matches, but when I did, I mean, even as a ref, I didn't want to upset anybody. And I would always tell, walk people through and be like, hey, if you want me to do something a little different this time, just talk to me while we're in there and I'll work it for you. I'll make it work. You want me to raise your hand at the end of the match, explain to me how I need to get there.
Yep.
That's it.
See, fun fact, whenever we talk about matches in the back, I would always say, look, like they'd be like, oh, they were going to do this. I'm like, stop.
It never happens.
Tell me the beginning. Tell me the finish. That's all I want to know. Everything else, we'll talk about it when we're out there.
Yeah.
Have you ever been where you disagreed with the end of the match? Like the person shouldn't have went over when they did.
I never really cared if I won or lost. My biggest thing in wrestling, like I said, I viewed indie wrestling as a hobby. The next day I still had to get up and go to work. So my biggest thing is I wanted to have fun, because if I was having fun, then the fans would see like, oh man, he's having fun. So now we're having fun. And also my opponent would have fun. And I've actually had guys come up to me and, they get excited to see me because they know like, oh man, like if I get to wrestle Thrash, that's going to be such a fun match. Not, oh, it's going to be a great match. Oh, it's going to be a lousy match. No, it's going to be a fun match. And that's all I wanted to hear, is that it was going to be fun. And, the promoter of SoCal Pro asks me at the end of every show, he comes up to me and goes, did you have fun? And I can always say, yes, I did.
That's what made me and Pirate Dave kind of like, I like that guy so much, because he would tell me like, I want to make you look good, and this, and he'd call an entire match, like I said.
Yes.
But he was so fun to work with. Like I would make fun of him, he would make fun of me. I was just like, I'm here to steal your booty.
Yes.
I came out. He was like,
and then he'd do like that Periscope thing. Whoa, so good.
Yeah, it was a great time, man. That's what I miss about it, was the fun, the camaraderie too. I mean, shit, there were fans when we were down in at San Diego Beach, on the beach. We're at some restaurant, I can't remember exactly where. We were kind of like in an alley, and I remember some guy jumping up because he was like, wrestling's fake, and he jumped up on the ring, and all of us, every single one of the fucking wrestlers that were out there, the referees, we all were like, all right, listen, bitch.
Yeah.
We're all about to beat on you. So there you go.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you're out there, you're watching this, and you're thinking, oh, well, I'll just jump into the ring during a live show.
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't do that, because those wrestlers, the referee, even the fucking commentators will beat the shit out of you if you do that. I've actually seen a commentator beat the crap out of somebody because they were trying to get into the ring. The commentator. Yeah. So don't do it. It's not worth it. And then you get kicked out and you get banned. You can't go back to the show. So just don't do it.
Well, 90% of them that jump in the ring as it is already drunk.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to find most of the guys that want to get in the ring. Like, you know, I'm not going to a house show right now and going, oh, I'm going to get in the ring because I did it before. I'm never going to do it. I know what's happening. I'm going to stay as far away as possible. If somebody wants to come and approach me, I'm hey, all right, high five.
And that's it. That's it's disrespectful to the guys that are performing the show for you. So
yeah, exactly. It's their time, and you just got to give it to them. You know what I mean?
They're there for your enjoyment.
I don't want to get in the ring to get the shit kicked out of me. I just want to get in the ring just
Mark wants to really take a bump, I think.
Really?
I can't. I don't think I could. I don't think I could take a bump.
Mark, I'll tell you what. You fly out to San Diego, come on down to Vista, and I'll choke slam your ass right in the middle of the ring.
I bet you would.
And you can film it live, buddy.
Or he'll give you an STD. One of the two.
Or I'll give you an STD right in the middle of the ring.
Oh hell! I don't think my joints would allow that though.
You'll be fine.
He's had some. Mark, when did you have your first hip replaced, bud?
30.
So Mark was 30. So Mark,
I have I have avascular necrosis of the hips, of the knees, the shoulders. If I got a joint, it probably has it in it. So.
Ooh. That is harsh, man.
He's got a joint. I'm going over to his house to smoke, and I'm just letting you know right now.
Wrong kind of joint.
I'm just kidding. I don't do any of that right now. Matt, I know we got you for over an hour here, man. If you want to go, let us know. Hey,
I'm having fun, man.
All right, cool. I got a ton more questions, but I'll try to make it a little bit shorter. Other than wrestling, what do you dig right now? What are you into? What are your hobbies?
Oh man, so I'm actually, I'm into toy collecting, as you can see. Mark knows.
I got a hell of a lot more than just that though, but yes.
You know, I still love, buying retro video games and playing those. I love reading comics. I love reading books. I'm a huge mythology buff. Actually, it's actually a life goal of mine to study all the world's mythologies and become an expert on all of them. Just because I think it's just so great. And
get ready to hit that button.
Let's see. Hey, Ronnie, Brian in his prime, and you. Who would win? Brian would. Brian would win.
No, it's Ronnie.
Brian would totally win, dude.
No.
Look at
Brian.
Look at Brian.
Come on. Brian was a
crazy
stick
look
figure.
at Brian's face, man.
No.
Brian was a stick figure.
You've been doing it for longer than me. You're the senior in high school. I'm the freshman. You win 9 times out of 10.
Plus,
10 is the 10th time I get lucky. I hit you with a low.
I don't know though. Mark is a Lions fan though. Usually Lion fan know how to take a lot of punishment and pain. So.
Yes, I've been doing it for 45 years.
Hey man, it's okay. I'm a Sharks fan, so I hear you.
Oh, yeah.
So mythology, man. So that's a topic that a lot of our guests don't talk about, man. Why are you into it? Why mythology? Why the Greek mythology?
Why not?
Honestly, mythology just has the best stories ever. Just you have a different pantheon of gods for each different mythology that's out there, or each different religion. And the thing to me that always is so crazy is when you think about all the wars that have been fought on this great earth, what's it mostly over? Religion.
Oh yeah.
It's mostly over religion. Hey, my God's better than your God. I'm going to kill your ass because you think differently. And, when people tell stories, and this is probably why I gravitate towards wrestling so highly. When people tell stories and you tell it correctly, you get like this sense of wonder, and you just want to know more about it to where you become obsessed with it. That's why I like mythologies, because every time I read a story about Hercules
There's
or
great stories.
Mighty Zeus or Ra, the sun god, every time I read a story about that, I just want to know more. And I want to buy more books, and I want to hear from more experts, and like, what do they say about it? What do you know about it? And basically, mythology is basically all someone else's truth. And what else is that?
Yeah,
History.
because the mythology was before Christ, right? It's 80, right? Or no?
Well, mythology is anything that is a myth. I mean, Brian, you can have myths of your own. And yes, it is a unicorn. He likes the long horn.
I ride them all the time. I'm just kidding.
That's what his wife says.
But yeah, like myth is literally just coming up with a story and running with it.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you guys right now, here in San Diego, there's coyote that comes out at night, but as soon as the sun comes up, it disappears, and it only comes out on the blood moon, and nobody knows why. Like, what does that make you want to do? Well, I want to fucking know about this blood moon coyote. Like, what the fuck is up with the blood moon coyote? I gotta know.
Yeah.
I love Greek mythology because the fact that there's not just one god.
Yes.
There are many.
Multi.
And not just one takes care of one. And plus the stories, yes, you are correct. Those stories they're a legend of their own.
Amazing.
And you're like, it's like, wow, okay. And then you look at our God, and anybody that's on here that whatever, you look at our God and say, geez, you don't have much of a story.
Well,
Bro,
I mean, if you think about it, man, like Jesus Christ was a great man, and if you think about all the stuff that he does and like the miracles that he performed, if you believe in that or not, it's still myth, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And also, having one God, just because the one God has, basically does all the duties of what many other gods would do, that's still cool too. Like
but I'm just saying, I just think it's more interesting, than just one. It makes more sense to have more than one. I mean, nobody knows for real on what's real and what's not these days anyway. So, I mean, believe in what you want to believe. That's the whole different thing. And I think that should be not, oh, I'm going to kill you because you don't believe in the same God as me. I think that's just,
that's what people do. People will literally go to war because you believe in one entity and I believe in another, and we'll go to war for it. And it's crazy. It's crazy when you stop and think about it.
Matt, I got 2 more questions, and I will let you go on my end. But
oh no, well, before he goes anywhere, I want him after you're done with your questions, right before we send him off, we're going to leave this area, and I would like him, if he would. I'm not going to hold you to it, but if you would, in your persona, your different persona, if you would tell people to watch us.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a shit show.
Go ahead.
So you got,
it's a shit show.
It's called The Shit Show?
It's called Talking Shit. Mark has changed the name from the Talking Shit podcast to the Talking Shit Show.
Okay.
Because shit show sounds like a fantastic thing, and I'm just like, I agree.
Yeah.
It sounds better than the Talking Shit podcast. I mean, come on, it don't roll off your tongue better than shit show.
And this isn't really a podcast. It's like a video cast. Like,
it's a podcast, right? That's what I would
call it. It's a podcast. There you go.
Yeah, podcast used to be, on without video, but now people are changing stuff. You know how that works. But go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Sorry, Joe Rogan. Your favorite dream match.
My favorite dream match.
You put 2 people in a room, maybe 3, in that ring.
Why don't you just ask him what's his Mount Rushmore then?
No, not your Mount Rushmore. No.
Yeah, I hate that.
You versus Randy Savage, or you know what I'm saying? Your dream match.
My dream match.
Your dream match.
The one that I would absolutely love to see.
Or participate in. That is up to you.
Wow, that is a hard question. Jesus,
Yeah, well,
Brian.
the females. Hey, no females. You can't. No.
No
Why?
female. Okay, let's see. I would,
Oh.
God, what's a match I've always wanted to see and just would say that would be so cool. That it can't happen nowadays, right? Like it's
I mean, it's up to you. I mean,
No. Yeah, I mean, it could happen nowadays. It's a dream match. So yeah.
This is open for you. This is your open interpretation of what your dream match would be. And then, like I said, it can involve you if you wanted it to. You can I want to be so and so versus so and so, and I'm the special guest referee, or I'm the ring announcer, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had this question a little while ago on this one, and we were talking about it. And most people they always say from the Monday Night Wars, it is Sting versus Undertaker, the match that we never got.
Right, the match that we never got.
Right. And we talked about how Vince had, he had Ric Flair and Hogan both on the same roster, but never went with that match. But happened
that's a huge.
It is a tough question, and so we put people on the spot like that, and then people come up with a great dream match. It's like, you're right. I never saw Billy Kidman versus so and so. Right?
Yeah,
Billy Kidman. I mean, come on. This guy was
Billy Kidman was great.
Jesus.
Oh yeah,
underrated.
So good. Yeah,
he was very underrated for his time. He would have got over now, but he wouldn't have back then. Right?
Yeah. Another guy I always said was underrated, who didn't really get the kudos he deserves, is Bill DeMott, Hugh Morris.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh yes,
I fucking love Hugh Morris.
He's one of the trainers.
He was a trainer. Yeah, he got fired because he was bullying.
Whatever.
Oh, really?
The guy was fucking great.
Yeah.
He's teaching people how to fucking wrestle.
Yeah, teaching
Macho Man versus the prostitute that beat up.
Good.
Oh come on.
Macho Man versus the prostitute that beat up.
Oh my God. this youth soldier, like, you need to have this guy on.
Who is this?
I don't know who he is. But
somebody I know.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm going.
All right, let's see. So dream match.
He's never been on here before, so he has to be following you, Matt.
It might be my mom. I told you I'd bring my mom on here. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. Okay, dream match. Let's see. I think it would have to be a tag team match.
Okay.
I think it should be on one end you have Mr. Perfect and Ravishing Rick Rude, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, right? And on the other side, let's put them against Bret the Hitman Hart.
Woo!
And Sting.
Oh man.
So you have two of the toughest dudes, best technicals in one match, and you just have them go at it.
Now I'm pretty positive, if I can remember correctly, Rick and Sting actually wrestled a few matches together.
They did.
Yeah,
because incredible.
And they were those matches were fucking clean, dude.
They were clean except the very last one where Rick Rude hurt his back to where he had to retire from.
Yeah.
And that was his last match was with Sting for that one.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart has wrestled all of those guys.
Yeah. And they're all great matches.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can see why you picked that. I mean, I think that would I would absolutely pay to see that show.
Yeah,
right?
that would be a great final match. So
yeah. And I'm talking about Bret Hart from
the
probably
80s.
When he was Intercontinental Champion, Sting when he was Crow Sting in WCW, and then Ravishing Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect when they were heels in WWF.
In the 80s, yep.
In the 80s.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I like that match.
I'd take that match. I'd pay to see that match.
So would I.
Yeah.
I might just go run that up on Fire Pro Wrestling after this just to fucking see it.
Let's go. And listen, we need to fucking order the game, make those characters, put them in the game, and just the simulation that they did for WrestleMania. I don't know if you saw that, Mark.
Yeah, I watched that one.
We should put those guys in the ring and see what happens. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
All right, my last question for you. two actually. It's a two-parter. Who's your number one fan?
Okay.
And then
It's
after
left
that, let people know where they can find you.
Okay.
You want people
So
watching that.
I think my number one fan, you know, I know if some of my fans are watching, they might get pissed off when I say this guy,
It's
but I
left
honestly think
hand.
my number one fan was this guy. He wore big Coke bottle glasses. I never got his name, but he would always come up at every show, and he'd have this little book of autographs, and he would get everyone's autograph, and he would
I
have
know
got
exactly
he
who
got
that
my
is.
autograph like 19 million times,
Yeah.
and he'd go, Thrash, I need your autograph. And he was so fun to mess with just on the constant. But since I can't remember that guy's name, I'm going to say probably one of my favorite fans ever. Yeah, she's over at SoCal Pro. She's always there. She's always loud. She's great, and that's Miss Mona. Miss Mona, if you're listening, you are my favorite fan. And where people can find me, you can find me at SoCal Pro. You know, we do monthly shows. I'm there doing the raffle. I'm also emceeing with my main man, Andrew Jasic. You can see us every week, every Saturday, in fact, on SCP TV. Just go to the SoCal Pro YouTube channel. You'll find us there. You can also find Andy and I. We're doing a retro rental review, and that is its own channel on YouTube as well. So come check us out. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Talk shit with us. No pun intended.
No,
And, you know, yeah, come hang out with us. We'd love to see you there.
that is awesome, man. We really appreciate your time, Matt.
Oh yeah.
Time is precious, and I know it's money. So if you got something to do, we'll let you do your thing. But Mark is asking if you'll do him one solid, and
Yeah, we're gonna leave you. We're gonna leave this.
a little promo.
Turn me
I
loose.
know Andy's was great, dude.
Oh, Andy's is so. I'm kind of nervous to try and follow Andy,
Yeah, well,
but I'm going to do
Andy,
my best.
man, Andy, it took him about a minute and a half to come up with it.
Yeah, he said,
And then-
give me.
Then
he's like,
you know,
"Okay."
you could say anything. You could even swear. I don't give a shit. You know.
Well, the good news is Rotten Ronnie doesn't swear, so it'll be a clean.
Okay.
Nobody
Well, you're
likes
gonna
to
say
take
promo.
bombs out,
Say
we
shit
take
anyway, so.
dinners, and then walk out on them.
That was awesome, though. That's one of the reels that I'm gonna put out there. But I'm gonna pull us off the screen.
And it's Talking Shit Show. Got it.
Yeah.
Hey, nerds. If you want to do something great, why don't you get onto the interwebs? Why don't you go over to YouTube and type in the Talking Shit Show? That's where you go. You talk about everything. It'll be great. You can even talk about your old pal, Rotten Ronnie. I'll see you there. And remember, they don't call it talking shit for nothing.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Mark, you like
Thank
that?
you.
You happy with that?
Yes, that was perfect. I like that.
Dude, you got to
There you go.
Venmo him now. What was it, like $74?
Yeah, you better start paying. You might want to bend over then.
Jesus,
Get on your hands and
$7
knees.
for that? God damn.
Oh my goodness, man, Matt, we really appreciate you coming on, and we'd love to have you back. We've got
Sure.
a great show coming up
On the
actually
18th?
with
Yes.
Andy
Anchors will.
with Anchors Away. And if you'd like to make, and listen, don't tell anybody, but if you'd like to make a surprise appearance, we're not going to say no.
I would love to. I would love to make a surprise appearance with those guys.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I'll send you the link. It'll be on the 18th.
Perfect. And that, what is that?
Yeah.
18th is what, a Saturday, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, we always do ours on a Tuesday or Thursday, and it's
We're
right
not
after.
gonna tell them, so if they didn't watch the show, fuck them, because hey, that's on them.
Oh, I guarantee you, Andy's watching this right now going, that fucking asshole. Why did he say that shit? What a fucking asshole. Why did he say that? What a fucking asshole? Why did you talk about this? What an asshole. That's what Andy said.
Yeah, the good news is it's right after they get inducted.
Yeah.
So
You know,
that's
yeah, let me come on. Yeah, give it to me. I want to
Okay.
come on.
all right.
All right,
I'm gonna
cool.
try it.
We will
I'll add
absolutely
you.
send that to you. Just remember, it is Eastern Standard Time. That's ES.
Hey, I
Oh,
came on time this time, didn't
yeah,
I?
you didn't miss it. You didn't.
You
miss
should be
I
worried
knew
about
you did.
Andy coming on.
That's exactly
Yes.
what we're worried about.
Yeah.
Man, Matt has been super awesome. Thank you so very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
My
Is there
pleasure,
anything
guys.
you wanna
It's been
leave?
fun.
Is there anything else you want to leave your fans with?
No, just definitely tune in to the 18th and watch me talk shit with not just these two, but with Anchors Away.
Oh, yeah.
You have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
What'd you do?
My screen went big.
Oh, you're good. Mark,
Yeah.
that was a really good interview. I think you did a really great job finding Matt.
Yes, I loved it. Especially knowing that watching SoCal Pro it's been great watching wrestlers that are wanting to wrestle and not worry about where their stat is on where they're at on their sheet.
And they have a great storyline. So here's the
Yes.
thing, guys. We live in Florida, but I'm telling you right now, if you're not watching SoCal Pro, go over and watch them. If you have a Roku device, it is absolutely 100% free. Download it. When you ain't got nothing to watch on TV, if you're bored, if WWE comes on and they got shit matches, if AEW comes on and they don't have a fucking storyline, for crying out fucking loud, go over and check out SoCal. I think that you're going to be really excited. You're going to see some wrestlers over there that you're going to be like, holy shit, this guy's going to make it big one day, because they will.
Some of these you can find wrestling on every day of the week. I can tell you that, because I do it. Some days I'll just watch wrestling from somewhere else and I don't give a shit. But this one, it caught my eye a little bit more, not because of Andy or Trevor or Matt. It's because they honestly care about one another and care about they don't care about fucking themselves or fucking over other people or fucking over themselves. That they want to get an absolute good, honest show, and that's all you're going to see.
They care about the promotion, and that's what's great about these guys. And that's why guys like Matt Thrash and guys like Andy Jasic and even Trevor, even though Trevor's not a part of wrestling anymore, he still supports SoCal Pro.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I really enjoyed my time, and it was very short, but I really enjoyed my time working with those guys. I'd love to do it over again. I wish I was younger. I wish I had more hair.
You don't need more hair. It just gets you in your face.
Guys, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I need to start saving up the money to go to San Diego.
You want to get in the fucking ring, don't you?
I want to. Fuck yeah, I do. I've always wanted to.
Mark,
I would do it. I would do it live.
Long bump. I think we need to go watch a show here soon, though. You and
I. I'm gonna. I think. I don't think it should be NXT. Well, if it is, well,
no, it's definitely not going to be NXT because.
But I want to see. I want to see indie promotion. They don't run any around here.
We got to go to Orlando. We'll have to go to
Orlando or Tampa.
Yep.
They have some good ones. Even in where is it? Lakeland, they have a few good ones too. But
who is you, Soldier? Who the?
I don't know. I'm going to look him up after this.
And I got to account.
I don't know if he's a fan of ours. I'm hoping he became a fan of ours, because of this. Go subscribe and
hit the like button.
Share, whatever. I don't give a shit.
Don't just do it here. Go over to SoCal and check them out as well. And then check Matt and Andy out on their, what is it, 80s? No, what is it called? Help me out here.
Come on.
The show. Come on, help me out here.
Oh, that show?
Retro
video
rewind or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it for you. I'm gonna post it up.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to post it. Just because I was gonna ask him about that, but he brought it up automatically. I was waiting for you to get back to ask any other real, big questions. So we're both here, but shit happens. Hey, I had it. Last week or the week before I had the
brain fart.
No, not the brain fart, but my computer fucked up because of the cats. the internet. So,
Yes.
but do you have anything else?
Yeah, guys. I just want to tell you to check out the Deluxe Edition Network. And while you are on deluxeeditionnetwork.com, there's a little tab up there called the Denny's. Click on the Denny's. Go down to the letter U. That's the first category. Vote for Talking Shit. That's us. We got to get all the votes that we can, guys. There is a championship belt for the Denny's, and I want to wear that thing so bad. And if not, I'll call.
Do you want to come over to my house and wear the championship belt?
No. I'm
Just
once.
once?
Listen, we're getting our own, and if these people that are watching are not trying to help us, I'm calling Rotten Ronnie, and I'm gonna make sure that every single one of their mothers gets to go on a date with him.
That's funny. But yeah, that's one of the reels. That's one of the reels I'm going to make.
But check out Deluxe Edition Network. That's the network we're on. This month, I want you to check out Barrel Age Flicks, as well as History I'd Like to Fuck. Those are the two podcasts of the month. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, you're going to see Talking Shit as the podcast of the month. Mark, that's all I got, my friend.
I would love to announce that we're podcast of the month, but we'll let them check it out. We'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there.
I'm going to build us up.
Yeah, we'll build ourselves up, and with everybody else's help too. But from us at Talking Shit, I'm Mark.
I'm Brian.
And we're out of here. Have a good night.